By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm.
So, Steve, this week, our movie of the week is something about killer bees.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. But because we're doing this movie, we had a sponsorship offer from someone who was interested in the subject, and we have a commercial to air at the end of the show.
Yeah, so please stick around for that and support our sponsors so we can keep the lights on.
Well, actually, we probably want to keep them off because of the interference with the microphone that we just had.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. Be nice.
That ain't working.
I want you to be nice.
That ain't working.
And you'll both be nice.
So much as my wife was a giant. But
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
no, I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
The Rees Company.
Crack open a tepid Genesee and watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's The Rees Company. I'm Steve Rees, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. And tonight, our movie of the week is Deadly Invasion, the Killer Bee Nightmare from 1995. But first, before we get into that, Chris, you have a celebrity encounter?
I did. Saturday night, I was at the Valley Forge Casino, and I was at the bar there, and I look over to my left, and who is it but famous comedian Jim Norton?
Oh, wonderful.
And
from the Opie and Anthony show.
Yeah, among other things. So yeah, I didn't talk to him.
Oh,
because I'd talked to him in the past, and he was there with a lady friend, so I'm not going to bother him. I already have the story of talking to Jim Norton.
Well, can we hear that story?
Oh, I saw him after a show, also at a bar, which is odd because he's a sober guy.
Yeah,
and
I had to cite him twice.
Yeah, twice
sitting in a bar.
At a bar.
Yeah.
He did order pineapple juice though for himself and a drink for his lady friend. But yeah, so there we go. I saw Jim Norton. That's it.
Yeah, that seems to be it.
Were you expecting more?
Yes.
Well, what did you think was? I don't know.
You said celebrity encounter.
It was a celebrity, and I encountered him.
Okay. So I guess we should just go right into our movie of the week.
Yep.
Let's hit the intro. Deadly Invasion, the Killer Bee Nightmare. It aired on March 7th, 1995 on the Fox network, and it stars Robert Hayes, who's best known, Chris?
Ted Stryker from Airplane.
Yeah. Also Nancy Stafford, who was apparently in Matlock.
Okay.
She was, I guess, a partner in his firm.
Oh, okay.
And Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of teen movies in the late 90s.
Oh, okay.
He was a part of. It was written by a guy called Rockne O'Bannon.
Oh, wow. That's a name.
That's a very Irish surname.
Mm-hmm.
And with the first name Rockne, I assume his parents were also big Notre Dame fans.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but one of the local sportscasters, he does the Sixers broadcast. This guy could not look more Irish if he tried.
Oh, yeah.
He literally looks like a leprechaun. Jim, you must know who I'm talking about.
Do you know the guy's name, Chris?
I don't. That's why I'm asking
okay.
Jim.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Rockne O'Bannon, he's probably best known for writing the screenplay for Alien Nation, the 1988 sci-fi film with, I guess, was it James Caan?
James Caan, yeah.
And Mandy Patinkin.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, this isn't the first made-for-TV movie on the subject of killer bees. In fact,
Nor was it the last.
yes, from the 70s through the 90s and perhaps still today.
Yeah.
This was almost a mini genre unto themselves.
Yeah.
There was even a cinematic release in the 70s called The Swarm, starring or featuring Michael Caine. It was an ensemble cast. Now, why for decades was the public horrified and captivated by the concept of deadly bees? Well, this movie starts off with a narration, Chris,
Oh, okay.
and attempts to explain that. Now, when we come back from this, I will have a true story that's not like this piece of rubbish you're about to hear.
We're all about getting to the
The
truth.
African bees began mating and established themselves as the dominant breed, causing hundreds of deaths throughout South America. Despite this deadly threat, every attempt to stop them from multiplying or from sweeping northward into Texas and California has failed. It is speculated that by the end of this decade, killer bees will have spread across most, if not all, of the continental United States.
Now,
The following could be
that didn't happen. This was the 90s. More than a decade later, they have not spread, and I think we all know why. Trump's wall. So there you go, folks. Build that wall.
A success story. You
Yeah.
have to admit, when someone does something good, you have to admit it.
You gotta give him
Otherwise,
credit.
you look like a partisan hack.
Right.
And we aim to be fair on the Rees Company. Well, are we going to see the rest of the or was that all you wanted?
That was all of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's not exactly what happened. As you said, we know the ending.
Right.
It all started with a beekeeper in Brazil. And this guy, Chris, he had a dream. He wanted to breed the world's most productive honeybee.
Oh, sure.
The local bees were churning out honey at a satisfactory rate.
Yeah.
But he had heard that bees in Africa, they were more productive. So he decided to import some of those and breed them with the ones from Brazil.
Solid plan.
Yeah.
Nothing could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, he just wants more honey. And this is a great way to produce more honey.
Yeah.
Now, in parts of Africa, bees have more natural predators than they do in other parts of the world. So they've learned to be more aggressive. More aggressive than the honeybees we're familiar with in the Americas. And yes, the African bees and the hybrid bees this guy created, they were known by this time as Africanized bees.
Mm-hmm.
Both sets of bees shared this common aggressive trait. But this wouldn't matter because the bees were kept in a secure apiary, cordoned off from the outside world,
I'm sorry, what was that word?
happily making their honey.
Apiary?
Yes, a place where you keep bees.
Never heard that word before. Okay.
All right. Until one day, Chris,
Okay.
in 1957, an assistant who, I guess, did not pay attention during orientation
Okay.
and probably lost his parking spot after this.
Hmm.
He accidentally freed a number of these bees
Okay.
and released them into the biota. Are we okay with that word, Chris?
Yes, I know what that means.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm not sure now. Jeez.
I question my vocabulary because I'm trying to learn something. That's fair. By the way, this story kind of sounds like what Newman did in Jurassic Park, but continue.
Now, again, the proper name for this species is the Africanized bee. And much like the satanic panic we touched on our previous episode, the sensational name killer bees was a creation of the media meant to add juice to this story.
Like murder hornets?
Yes, like we have today.
Yeah.
Have you encountered one?
Actually, I think I did.
Were you murdered?
No, I was not murdered.
Well,
no.
there you
In fact,
go.
it was on my head and didn't sting me. So
There you have it. For decades, this hysteria only grew. And I remember as a kid, and you probably do too, Chris, seeing it on the news, on TV. Hey, the killer bees are coming.
right.
They're going to be here by 1998. They're on the way. They've reached Texas. It always sounded like they were on this direct, decades-long flight to the U.S. where they were going to kill all the children and take over the government.
Right.
And, of course, as you know, that didn't happen. In fact, by the time they did arrive in North America, they'd lost enough of their aggression to be only as dangerous as the typical honeybee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, part of the reason why they still have a reputation for being dangerous is that when one of these bees attacks somebody, the entire swarm follows suit,
Yeah.
the entire hive. They also go after the common target.
Right.
So killer bee victims suffer dozens or perhaps hundreds of stings in one go versus a single sting in one bodily part.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like wasps. Wasps can sting you multiple times, not just once like a bee. So
yeah, very similar to that. Now, despite all this, Chris, do you know what the total body count of quote-unquote killer bees are?
what do you mean by total body count?
How many people they've killed since they were released in 1957?
Well, that narration we just saw said hundreds.
Hundreds in Brazil alone, according to the narration.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reality is worldwide. You want to take a guess?
I'm going to say 2,000.
Little high.
Okay.
4.
4.
4 fatalities from the 1950s to the present. So, Deadly Invasion, the Killer Bee Nightmare. This was released at the tail end of the media's fixation on the end of humanity being brought about by murderous bees.
Yeah.
But they were still also firmly engaged in the mania. In fact, this film's tagline during the promos, the network promos during the week, the tagline was, "This will be a true story."
Oh, okay. Yeah, it turns out even the past of it wasn't true.
Right.
So they've been lying. They lied to us at the very beginning of it.
So, Chris, do you want to see more of this? I hope so, because otherwise we have nothing.
We have no show, so I guess we have to. Let's go with the second clip there. This is a hapless boob of a cop entering a derelict house.
Hey folks, peace officer.
Here's how I know he's a hapless
Time to
boob.
rise and shine.
Do these people
You're
look like
not
they're
exactly in
sleeping?
the safest place here.
Yeah.
And also, he looks like Sheriff Lobo's deputy.
I don't know. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We can stop it there. That didn't seem that bad. I don't know.
No, it seemed kind of adorable.
Yeah. But well, you can up that body count from 4 to 5 now. So
Right.
with that. All right. So the next scene, if we can just roll that for a few seconds, and we'll see what I believe to be part of the problem, Steve.
All right.
Yeah, just
The
roll that for-
depositions were supposed to be here.
Can you stop it? Blossom Meadow? I mean, come on. They're asking for it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but we're going to let the rest of this scene play out, and we'll meet the hero of our story, Ted Stryker from Airplane, who we'll see is up to his old tricks.
2 days ago. No. Yeah, we are kind of out of the way here. No, overnight mail can't guarantee next day delivery.
I need to reorder 3 bolts of that Blue Daisy pattern. Yes, it's still my interior design business, but my business is in California now. You sent it to my old Boston address. Yeah, California. Blossom Meadow, California.
Blue daisies? What are you talking about?
I haven't given any depositions. Depositions about what? Yeah, it knows
Yeah.
me again. Anyway, as long as I have them by Friday.
Wah, wah. I assume one of them was talking to Herb Monganess, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
But what's odd about that is there are some kind of corny, I don't know about corny necessarily, but jokes. Not slapsticky, but there are jokes in the beginning. There are no jokes. It takes a turn.
Yeah. 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 Well, when you cast the guy who's famous for Airplane, you know, you got to let him do his thing.
Yeah, and I think also things are going to be funny unintentionally because people were only used to him seeing him as kind of an over-the-top comic.
Right. Yeah, what did he do other than the airplane movies and this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't recall.
I think he did a lot of voice work.
Okay.
But as far as being on camera, you expect a certain thing from him. So things he says, just like Leslie Nielsen in that film.
Yeah, but Leslie at least had a long career before he got typecast in that role. This guy, I think, right from the beginning, well, no, you're the airplane guy.
Right.
We can't hire you to play the dramatic lead.
But also Leslie Nielsen, if you watch him in an old dramatic role, it's probably a lot funnier.
Oh, yeah.
You perceive it that way because you hear Leslie Nielsen's voice.
Yeah.
Engenders humor.
Yeah, it ruined all his old movies in retrospect. Yeah. But that's enough of Ted Stryker. We're going to see another guy in this next scene. And, well, let's just roll this scene. It's short.
We're out of here. We're going up to the interstates. Got this really radical thing we do with the truckers up there.
Yeah, that's enough. This guy, Steve, is such a badass. He doesn't even wait until he's out of the high school parking lot to crack open a cold one.
Right.
So,
and they also go out of their way to make him unlikable immediately.
Yeah.
It's almost like something's going to happen to him.
Right.
So that the audience will have no sympathy when it occurs.
Well, you know, Steve, that sort of devil-may-care attitude always comes with a price.
Right.
Yeah, and we're going to see that in this next scene, which, by the way, this is a very long scene. It's over 3 minutes, so I'm just getting that out, you know, so people know. But you're going to want to see all this, believe me. So. Tosses the beer out the back of his Corvette.
Keep it on the road.
Would that happen? Would the guy veer off the road?
Yeah, there's no reason to veer off the road. No. Now, this part, there's not much going on. They're just making out, hitting the horn in the process.
It does have a song that's probably going to cause us a headache.
Well, I didn't recognize it.
Yeah, but
that means anything.
It's somebody just waiting for his chance.
Yeah. Well, we're giving them an opportunity for their music to be heard.
Yes.
So.
The exposure.
Yeah. So they're bumping into the horn as they're making out, which is disturbing the nearby bees who are attached to a billboard there. By the way, wouldn't that be annoying? You're trying to, move over the passenger seat. You got a minute and a half left on this scene. What? Right there, I would have been like, there's bees. Let's get the hell out of here. One bee lands on me, I know it. They're climbing up her skirt, and she still doesn't know. Maybe she thinks it's him.
Oh, something's pinching me. Oh, something's really pinching me. Oh, God.
Yeah, look at all those bees.
Where are they coming from?
Who cares? Let's go! Go!
She makes a good point. Who cares where they're coming from? Now, this is a different truck, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be.
Now, Steve, we can stop it there. Here's how you know this was a low-budget movie. They had an opportunity there to have a classic Corvette smash into an 18-wheeler with a huge explosion, and it's done off camera with not even, it was like a tinkling sound effect even. It wasn't even like the sound of metal on metal crashing.
Might that have been network standards? Not the sound effect part, but the idea of a head-on collision.
I mean, you can pretty much show any kind of violence on TV, I think. You know, if it's not gory, but explosions. I mean, come on, we all saw the A-Team. You can do whatever you want with explosions. I think it was budget related myself, but because this was kind of before CGI. I mean, they had it, but it wasn't used the way it is today in 1995. So I believe they would have actually had to go out and either use models or crash an actual classic Corvette, which obviously would be very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And take one off the road, which is unfair to collectors.
Yeah. I mean, they do have kits of those cars, though. Did you know that? Like, a lot of times you'll see, like, a Ferrari on the road, and it's not a real Ferrari. Like, they take, like, a Pontiac Fiero and add, like, fiberglass panels to it to make it look like a Ferrari. Yeah, that's, like, a pretty common thing.
All right.
They're called kit cars. But, all right, so what's our next scene here?
Well, we have a still shot. I don't think it's a scene.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, if we could bring that up. I just wanted to show this because this is how you know that this film was made in the 20th century. That is the only non-white person to appear in this film, and he's in one scene. So they don't permit those kind of casting choices anymore. So just wanted to point that out.
In fact, these bees would not be called Africanized bees.
No.
If this were made today.
No, that would present problems. All right, so let's go to, the next scene is actually very pertinent to our lives because it's a preview of the Rees wedding.
Oh, nice.
The upcoming Rees wedding.
Nice. I'd like to look into the near future and see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah. Well, there'll be some slapstick humor, apparently.
That guy's going
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of douchebags at your wedding, apparently. I guess that was it for that one. But we can go forward to a little bit further in the wedding and see a really ridiculous thing happen.
That's her stepson.
I didn't pick up on that.
He hates her.
Is that?
Yeah.
Bend down! I'm here. It's gonna be okay.
Why don't you close the door? What the hell? They shut it. Well, now they shut it, and I guess everything's okay, even though there were dozens of bees on every person that entered that house. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that probably won't lead to anything.
Yeah. All right, well, obviously the bees have invaded the town at this point, Steve.
Yeah.
So people aren't really sure how to get rid of them, but one guy has a very novel idea. So we'll see that.
Well, can I say that the reason why they're having a hard time getting rid of them is because they have to find the principal colony?
Okay.
I think they refer to it as.
Yeah.
And that's where they've set up multiple hives in one location in or around the town. And it turns out to be on Ted Stryker's orchard.
Yeah, he owns an orchard, yeah.
So his son is friends with Ryan Phillippe, who's the guy you're talking about.
He's also a lawyer, I think.
He is.
Yeah, he's a lawyer who owns an orchard.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire.
So Ted Stryker's son is friends with Ryan Phillippe, and Ryan Phillippe, as you said, he has a novel way of dealing with the...
So I didn't pick up on the fact that he had located the central colony.
Yes.
Okay. So this is kind of like a vampire movie. You got to kill the head vampire. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was they invaded the hives of the existing bees and took them over.
Well, yeah, that's part of it.
Okay.
But they all moved to this. They built hives on this orchard.
Okay. Well, let's see how he chooses.
Now, Ted Stryker already knew, but Ted's son brings along Ryan Phillippe, who they're friends.
Yeah.
And Ryan, as you said, goes in the business for himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Tommy, no!
Travis, Kristen, this is for you.
So instead of the Corvette 18-wheeler car crash, we're treated to a motorcycle chase. Okay. Well, it's better than nothing, I guess.
Right.
Steve, believe it or not, that's really, I only have one more clip. What happened there, that works about as well as you would expect. And the bees chase them, and they go to Ted Stryker's house. And then Ted Stryker and his family are imprisoned in their house by the bees. The youngest daughter gets stung, and of course she's allergic, But there's like 45 minutes of them just, there's bees outside the house, and she can't breathe.
Well,
okay.
That's an element I kind of like, and I'll talk about that during the review, but can we talk about the girl who was in anaphylactic shock?
Right.
She spent a good 5-10 minutes not breathing.
It seemed that way, yeah.
Yeah. Now, it turns out, Chris, that I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason why I'm being sued by Kelly Clarkson. But I would guess that if this girl was without oxygen for that long, she would probably not survive, or she'd have severely debilitated brain functionality.
Brain function, yeah.
At the very least, she'd wake up being one of those people who says pumpkin.
A pumpkin head is what you're calling her.
Oh, well, that doesn't happen. Ted is able to get to the serum, the insulin, whatever it is he had to get from the shed in time.
Right.
And so her life is saved. But yeah, as you said, the bees besiege the house. How about that?
Well, there you go. That's clever.
Show title. And so they're really just after Ryan Phillippe.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah.
But he's brought into the house with everybody else. If they had just pushed him outside, they could have done their thing.
Well, instead they just basically yell at him the entire time. So if you want to see Ryan Phillippe get yelled at by a family, then watch it. Otherwise, it's pretty boring the rest of the way through. And the ending...
I disagree with that, but we'll get to that later.
All right. But the ending, they just, after all this goes on and on, they finally remember, oh, yeah, there is a secret passageway from the house to the barn that we totally forgot about. And they take the passageway and get to the barn where there's no bees. And then I don't know what the hell happens.
Well, the bees are following them as they make their way. And it's a slog. They have to make their way through the passage into the barn.
Yeah, but it can't be a lot of bees because once they get there, there's no bees.
Right.
So they can't...
Well, because the bees they're moving faster than the bees somehow.
Yeah, right.
And then they take a bale of hay.
Yeah, one bale,
close
by
the
the
door.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fixed. Wouldn't you put every bale on top of the hole?
Now we have to live in a barn for the rest of our lives.
Well, no, because apparently after that, let's just roll the next scene.
Okay.
They're just picking up dead bees. What happened? All the bees are dead now. How? We don't know. It's not explained at all.
Maybe every one of them stung Ryan Phillippe.
That's true. Do we not see him in this ending shot?
And they all died.
Yeah.
All the bees.
I mean, we can let this play out, but this is it. This is the end of the movie.
And there's the last bag of bees.
A bag of bees would be like a good
Prank?
Yeah, like a service for like someone you hate.
Yes.
I'm gonna send him a bag of bees. Yeah, she threw away her bee headband that was made famous by John Belushi. That's it. What happened to all the bees? How they died? We don't know.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it would have made more sense if they just left because their homes had been destroyed. But they're clearly dead, and we don't know how they died. Now, I will say, though, that due to an astute commenter, we may have a possible explanation for this, Steve.
Okay.
So, Jim, if you could bring up the comment for us. I can't read it. You cut the movie
short at the end. Everyone knows that at the end, there was always a creature still living.
Yeah. What's a nest or hive or something that won't let the movie end on a positive note.
Yeah.
So, and I saw a couple other comments to the same effect where apparently that is the real end of the movie. So there's missing scenes at the end. So maybe there's some kind of explanation for why all the bees suddenly died, but you're not going to see it in the only available copy of this movie on YouTube. So
can we fairly rate this movie given that?
Yeah, because my bad rating would not have changed given a logical ending. Yeah, that would not have made my hour and a half of watching this movie enjoyable if it had wrapped it up neatly.
You chose this one, I remind you.
I did. Well, I had a friend who she may have a bee problem in her house. And so I was sending her bee memes for a week, as a goof.
Right.
So I was thinking about bees. But that's how we ended up here.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and rate it like 2. I'll give it 2 Meredith Baxters.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
All right. And I think you explained your reasoning fairly well.
Right.
I'm going with 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And the reason why is, despite the fear-mongering, this seemed to be the whole point of making this film. The reason to be, as they say in English. I do know, I do like how the atmosphere goes from local hysteria to the principal characters facing a series of challenges in an isolated location, like a classic disaster movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's formulaic, like a disaster movie.
Yeah, but a lot of those movies work and work well as a result of that.
Name one.
Speed?
The
Poseidon Adventure?
Okay. Well, I did bring up Jurassic Park earlier.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that movie. So, okay. Yeah, all right.
So is there anything else you'd like to say about the film?
No. Believe me, I'm ready to move on. I actually watched this. I watched this on mute the first time through because I was in a crowded place.
Yeah.
I watched it on my phone on mute. And then when I had to go back and rewatch it with sound, I chose to watch it at 1.25 speed so I could get it over with that much quicker. So,
all right. Is there anything you'd like to talk about we haven't talked about?
I don't know. Just we're going to roll our new sponsors, a commercial for our new sponsors after this. So I am looking forward to that.
So please check out and support our sponsor. In that case, I think we did it.
Okay.
For Chris Regani, I'm Steve Rees.
Aski Wawa.
Hola, venga, Tigers. Eat 'em raw. We did it.
Praise Jesus. Have you or your family been attacked by bees?
Has Ryan Phillippe caused your family to be attacked by bees?
Fact. The U.S. Constitution guarantees you the right to sue bees in the case of wrongdoing. How do I know this? Because I've read all these law books.
He's also read most of Lord of the Rings. Yes, we will also take cases if you're cornered by somebody with a celebrity story that goes nowhere.